Africa's Sustainable Development Challenge. Since 2020, Africa has been hit by three major global crises: a health and economic crisis caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, a food and energy crisis caused by the war in Ukraine, and the intensifying climate crisis as evidenced by more frequent natural disasters. A combination of these crises has worsened existing societal vulnerabilities, increasing inequality, as well as the fragility of public finances in the region. Between 2020 and 2021 alone, approximately 130 extreme weather events were recorded across Africa. Despite producing the least greenhouse gases, the continent remains the most vulnerable to the impact of climate change. The amount of finance African governments have committed, $264 billion to addressing the climate crisis, falls short of what is needed, $2.8 trillion. Africa needs an additional $2.5 trillion in climate finance between 2020 and 2030, on average $250 billion annually. But in 2020, the total annual domestic and international climate finance flows to the continent were only $30 billion, about 12% of the amount needed. Nevertheless, Africa has a huge opportunity. The continent is endowed with natural capital. Protecting and restoring it is essential to the global climate change and biodiversity agenda. 23% of the continent's GDP is highly dependent on nature, as is the stability of Africa's financial systems, and with it opportunities for economic growth. So monetizing Africa's natural capital for development is crucial. Financial service providers across Africa are gradually realizing the value of incorporating social and environmental considerations into their business models. Re-engineering the financial systems will require investments in creative climate finance solutions and aggressive domestic private finance mobilization, as well as greater stakeholder collaboration. FSD Africa is an essential player in mobilizing green finance for the continent. FSD Africa's mission is to address systemic challenges in Africa's financial markets in order to spark large-scale and long-term change for the planet and Africa's people. We collaborate with partners across Africa to mobilize and direct finance to innovative climate finance solutions, leverage Africa's natural capital, and develop carbon markets. Key to our strategy is to support early-stage transactions with grants, returnable grants, technical assistance, and investment capital. We believe this mix of instruments is needed to de-risk investment and create novel investment vehicles, and so allow capital flow to underinvested parts of the economy. We help address the need for a policy and regulatory environment that fosters financial sector innovation by building the institutional capacity of policymakers, regulators, and supporting the development of the necessary guidelines, policies, and frameworks. Core to our work is the development of appropriate financial products and market infrastructure informed by data and insights gathered through research and from our engagements with various market players. All these initiatives are intended to help financial markets in Africa to realize a more effective financial policy and regulatory environment, increased funding for green initiatives, and deeper and more sophisticated domestic capital markets, which in turn lead to increased job opportunities, increased resilience of SMEs and low-income populations, including women and youth, and improved climate change mitigation, adaptation, and biodiversity loss reduction. Our intention is that by demonstrating the success of transactions and intermediary models, we will encourage others to replicate and scale up similar models. This should lead to long-term and large-scale green capital flows into sustainable solutions across Africa. At FSD Africa, we believe that working to address the continent's green finance challenges can lead to a more sustainable future for Africa, one that is characterized by the reduction or avoidance of greenhouse gas emissions, improved access to jobs and income by its people, including women and youth, and reduced vulnerability to economic and climatic shocks. FSD Africa, we make finance work for Africa's future.